Stella Nabukera shouts out in agony as 4 men progressively force themselves on her. There is no one to rescue this 14-year-old girl from her defilers. It is the kind of life she has lived since the age of 12 when she was brought to this home as a housemaid. Although she is 30 years old now, this lady, whom we have called Stella Nabukera to conceal her identity, remembers the incident vividly. She explains that she was taking care of 4 males who instead took advantage of her vulnerability. At the age of 14, colleagues in the neighborhood introduced Nabukera to prostitution as an alternative to housekeeping.
Kati mukunyonoona natuuka okuba nga ntuuse emyaka egiwo kale ng'omuntu ino b'omuwala oba omukyala gy'asobola kufunyamu omusajja nga sobola kufuna ki olw'empisa gye bampisaamu okitegeera nensalawo ne neegatta ku kibinja ekikola ekiro ne ntandika okuba nga nnyingira mu bwanneeko.
Nabukera and her colleagues prefer to call it self-employment, not prostitution, an illegal trade in Uganda. But Nabukera is one of the hundreds of children who fall victim to defilement annually in the country. Statistics at the police station in Kamuli district, one of the highly prone areas, indicate that in 2011, this station recorded a total of 400 cases of defilement, a number that shot to 466 in 2012.
We went to police and we noted that on average, Kamuli receives a total number of defilement cases between 45 and 50 a month. That is really alarming.
The high cases of defilement in Kamuli district have left both parents and authorities puzzled on what the cause of this monstrous crime could be.
Abasaada abanga oluisi nga aidinga omwana oyo akola ki aira mu ngiro omwo yenka yabanga amukuumira owantu owanigirivu owazira ki bantu
oyinza osinga n'omuzadde nga oluusi balina engeri gye bakuuta omwana we olw'okuba ye oluusi osanga oluusi oba anywa ku mwenge n'atatwala buvunaanyizibwa oluusi babikolereyo ku mabbali.
Before a case of any form of sexual crime can be punished, enough evidence must be brought forward. Joshua Murani is the area scenes of crime officer whose work involves visiting the place where an alleged crime has been committed as soon as possible, but admits that delays in getting the crime report have escalated cases of defilement. Kamuli district, with a population of over 700,000 people, and also with the highest number of cases of sexual crimes, does not have an analytical laboratory. Samples from the scenes of crime have to be transported to Kampala, the capital city, a journey of over 120 kilometers for verification.
Because like in this scientific part of it requires a lot of facilitation, movements, going to Kampala, bring back. At times, like we take samples which last for over 2 years. Hence making our work difficult.
Uganda women legislators are now convinced that tougher reforms in the current laws is the way to go in curbing incidences of sexual crimes.
Since time immemorial, it has been much more of the girl child who has been suffering lots of sexual abuse, although nowadays the trend is also incorporating or usurping the boy child alongside. But largely speaking, those who are violated most are the girls. And the girls who are below the age of 14, I should say.
Currently, there are loopholes in the current law. That is why we are proposing this amendment. For example, currently, the definition of rape is only a penetration. We want to introduce a new subclause to define aggravated rape. That is when, for example, you have gang raped, that becomes aggravated. When the rape leads to injury, unbearable injury, or psychological injury to the victim, that becomes aggravated. When you've raped a minor that becomes aggravated rape. When you have used substance to induce a person before raping, therefore making sure that the person cannot actually know what is happening to her. So we are going to define aggravated rape and give it a much more stiffer punishment than rape.
To me, these laws are sufficient. Because aggravated defilement is a capital offense. On conviction, either life sentence or even a death. Enforcement is still a problem. You arrest a person, it takes years before the case is heard because the magistrates are not enough, the judges are not enough. So the challenge is, to me, is somewhere else.
At a national scale, the police crime report recorded 7,000 cases of defilement in 2011, 8,000 cases in 2012, and 9,000 cases in 2013. By implication, about 1,000 cases of defilement are reported annually. The many forms of sexual violence like rape and defilement continue to interfere with the normal life of the victims, especially the young generation. Whether new laws will help curb the vice is debatable. I'm Marion Alina.